he is emotionally involved in this. I think he's very proud when you speak to White House figures that he has what other presidents have not had in this second visit.
Yeah.
But then you get to the Thursday. That's what the UK government want.
Sure.
They want these deals being signed.
As I say, Donald Trump is on his way and he's in the air. He's been speaking to reporters about his thoughts on the visit before boarding that flight.
Well, my relationship is very good with the UK, and Charles, as you know, who's now king, is my friend. And it's the first time this has ever happened where somebody was honored twice, so it's a great honor. And this one's at Windsor. They've never used Windsor Castle for this before. They used Buckingham Palace. And I don't want to say one's better than the other, but they say Windsor Castle is the ultimate, right?
Well, there we are, an endorsement for Windsor Castle. Now, Donald Trump did recognise the government, the British government, wanted to refine the US-UK trade deal.
But basically, I'm there also on trade. They want to see if they can refine the trade deal a little bit. We made a deal, and it's a great deal. And I'm into helping them. Our country is doing very well. We've never done this well. We're having trillions of dollars coming because of the tariffs. They'd like to see if they could get a little bit better deal, so we'll talk to them. But primarily it's to be with Prince Charles and Camilla. They're friends of mine for a long time, long before he was king.
So, obviously looking forward to dropping in on his very good friend, King Charles. Katy Balls, Washington editor, is here with me now in the studio, fresh from DC. Hi, Katy, great to see you. So, listening to Donald Trump, obviously quite up for meeting the king and rubbing shoulders with royalty at Windsor Castle, which apparently is the best location of all the royal locations.
The best of the best.
Best of the best. I mean, well, worthy of his visit, certainly. He doesn't sound as if he's coming to here to cause trouble, make waves. Doesn't mean that he won't.
Exactly. I think there's a difference between intending to come here and send ripples across British politics and the establishment and a situation where you're asked a bunch of quite awkward questions and a few things that the US president says are awkward for the Prime Minister. You can come with good intentions. We just know that Donald Trump is not your conventional politician, to put it mildly. And that means that, as we've seen many times with Donald Trump in the first term and even in the second term, these meetings, even with the best of intentions, can go in surprising ways.
Yeah.
I think it was notable at Turnberry when you had almost Keir Starmer being hosted by a US president, but on British soil. Trump was trying to be on good behaviour, but he still spoke about freedom of speech, raising some concerns about the UK. Sadiq Khan, not a big fan, as we knew already. That was repeated. So there can be awkward moments. I think the question is, to what degree do they go? And I think the difference between Trump Turnberry and where we are now with the state visit is it feels as though Keir Starmer's own position is has deteriorated since that trip.
Yeah.
And he's in a difficult place, which might be why, Donald Trump will make an extra effort to try and not cause problems.
He likes winners, and Keir Starmer, he has been describing him in recent times as a winner. He looks less winner-like of late when it comes to his position in British politics, as we know. Starmer wants this visit to go well. That is Starmer's mission, the political mission for the Prime Minister as the President touches down. It almost sounds as if King Charles has got a bigger job. Trump wants to stay on the King's good side. He called him, an elegant man. He said they were friends, not just when Charles was king, but since long before that. He really does. He's not the first president to really enjoy rubbing shoulders with British royalty, but it gives Charles, a bit of an angle if he can play it politically.
Completely. And why has Donald Trump been offered a second unprecedented state visit? Because the government largely wanted to butter him up, and they thought that this was a good way to appeal to the White House, which is, and there are some in Whitehall who thought, even if you are going to offer a second state visit, is it smart to do it so early in the second term? You still have, three or so years after this. But this is part of a decision by Number 10 to think that by using flattery, charm, playing to what Donald Trump likes, it will be more effective for the UK to get what they want. And therefore, you have a situation where you heard from those comments just then from the US president. The Wednesday is really the day that Donald Trump is here for. That is, pomp, pageantry, meeting with the royals. We're expecting him to pay tribute to the Queen, to go to her place of burial, her place of rest. And of course, Trump's love of the royal family is very personal to him because his late mother was a big fan of the royal family. She was from the Outer Hebrides. He watched his mother watch the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. So I think he is emotionally involved in this. I think he's very proud when you speak to White House figures that he has what other presidents have not had in this second visit.
Yeah.
But then you get to the Thursday. That's what the UK government want.
Sure.
They want these deals being signed. So you have, I think, two sides here of different priorities in terms of how this quite short visit goes. And just the question is number 10's calculation the right one, that they'll be able to squeeze more from the American side and goodwill in the deal through what they are doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, there's no great premium for Keir Starmer in just getting on conspicuously well with Donald Trump. In fact, most people in this country just don't like the President of the United States. That may be, for some, rather counterproductive, depending on how he goes about that. But there's business to be done. I mean, solid business worth a great deal of money. We know, don't we, Katy, that Keir Starmer wants a better deal than we have at the moment on aluminium and on steel, maybe something on trade terms for whiskey and salmon and other products too. And this stuff matters. I'm not sure precisely how much that cuts through, with the wider British public, but it matters.
It does matter. And the decision that Number 10's made for some time is, yes, particularly the Labour base, it does not play well to look as though you're rolling out the red carpet for Donald Trump. If you think about, the Labour left, some of these feelings, but it's worth it because actually there is a strategic aim here and you shouldn't pander. I think that Downing Street will be encouraged by the comments we just heard with Donald Trump saying, "Oh, I know they want more from this trade deal. We want to help the UK where we can." If there were even a mild improvement, I think that would be progress, because there's been, from being in DC, you'll find that figures in the administration, Republicans, they talk about that UK-US trade deal as largely done. And then the UK side will say, oh, no, it's the beginning of a process. And that's always, you've had these ongoing talks that have failed to get too much. The UK has done better compared to lots of other countries, to be fair. It's just that in terms of where they would like to get, there is some way to go. So if they can tinker around, even if it's just tinkering with the UK-US trade deal, I think that would be a big success from the Downing Street perspective, along with some of the announcements they have planned.
Katy Ball's great to talk to you. Enjoy your time on this, I've no doubt, memorable visit. Katy Ball's the Washington editor of The Times.
And it's an honor to have him as king. And, he's, I think he represents the country so well. I've watched. He's such an elegant gentleman, and he represents the country so well.
Are you going to the right